to make sure if I didn't. This is Stephanie Delgado, and I'm the Education Manager. And so today we'll be talking about the site view of the TIPWeb-IT application and kind of the end-of-year pieces of the application. With IT, I mean, there's not really like a specific, you do this and then you do this, right? I mean, all districts are different. And so a lot of times we can't say, well, right now you should be doing specifically this. We can just give you some kind of guidance. Here are the things that you're working on, and maybe kind of look at ways that we could potentially kind of, work through some maybe processes with you. So I guess my first question is, was there anything in particular that you wanted to maybe talk about this morning, or maybe have me kind of walk through with you?
Not that I can think of.
Did you have questions about the, did you do the last one, Stephanie, or was that Angie that did the last webinar?
Angie did, she did the last one, and that was the district side, and that was on initiating audits for campuses. So we can, one thing that if, oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead, I'm sorry. When I said we were talking amongst ourselves. No, there were just some things on there about the audits that we had kind of discussed, and Sarah wasn't available at the time, and so me and Lawrence were there, and we tried our best to.
Okay, so I can tell you one thing. It's just your district on, and so I'm happy to cater this to any direction that you would like. So we can definitely kind of recap what Angie had covered. I can at least start with the conversation. You might have to guide me on exactly what you guys talked about if there are certain things. But I can definitely show you. Go ahead.
No, we don't want to hijack your presentation because we know that no, because there's going to be people that want to see the recording. So.
Sure, yeah, well, I appreciate that too. Well, so this is what I was kind of thinking. So when we're talking about the site view, and it actually, one of the topics I was going to cover today is going to be the site view and audit. So there's two pieces we can handle with that. One is, of course, kind of following through from what Angie showed on the admin Q&A, where she kind of started the process, right? So she's like, all right, end of the year, which is fairly common for districts. Are you doing audits at the end of the year, or how frequently are you doing them, or are you doing them?
We're going to start doing them next year. It'll be throughout the year.
Perfect. Okay, so maybe like every 6 months or so. I know some districts do that.
Each campus will get it annual.
Okay, fantastic. So you'll be just doing them throughout probably to kind of, space it out?
Right.
Okay, great. So what we can do is I'll start with the scenario of I am at the site, and then, so when you've seen those pieces with Angie of where at your side you went, you created the audits, kind of those kind of best practices she talked about with you. So then the next piece really is going to be your site. So then your sites will get a district-created audit, and so we'll walk through what it will kind of look like for them. We'll just do kind of a high-level overview because there's definitely lots of pieces to audits. And what I would say is next year, especially for you guys when it'll be your first time, reach out to us ahead of time and we'll kind of walk through all the pieces with you again. And, of course, you and your campuses can kind of connect with us throughout the process just to ensure that things are getting done the way that you would like them to, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead. I created the audit already for us because it is the site view, and so we want to see kind of how they will see it initially. So I've moved over to my Wright Elementary where I had the audit created. One thing I always like to remind individuals about is the notifications panel for the dashboard, because right away I see there's something in red, there's something there that I need to go and take action on. And so when I click on it, it takes me to the View Site Audits page. Now, there are some things with audits, and Angie may have touched on them. I'm going to prove someone to come into the room really quickly. Thank you for joining. We're just talking about audits on the site side, and we're under View Site Audits. But just to recap, so Angie had talked to you kind of about the initial piece of, the setup and everything. Did she happen to touch on the option for districts to be able to allow sites to actually reconcile their audits? She may not have, it's not used heavily, but I want to at least bring it up so that you know that there's that feature available. And so did she happen to?
We don't remember that.
Okay, no worries.
All the specifics of it, but we appreciate
Gotcha.
it.
Okay,
Let me ask you a question. You hear about this?
Yeah.
Of course.
We can only see.
We're not seeing your screen, I guess, or.
I keep
Oh,
refreshing.
I am so sorry. Thank you for saying that. I just kind of dove right in, didn't I? I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now, everybody.
There we go.
Let's see here. And it looks like, do I have Tina just joined us?
Yes.
Great. Welcome, Tina. We have a small group on, which is, I don't mind at all because that means that I get to keep the phones open, so we just have an open conversation, as you see probably that we've already been doing. So just a real quick recap, we're on the site side. And what district are you with, Tina?
Conroe.
Conroe, well, welcome. So we are talking about what it looks like on the site side after the district has created an audit. So right now we are on a site, Wright Elementary, and what I wanted to at least touch on really quickly, because I know I have, Tina, are you at the admin level or the site view of the application?
Admin.
Great. Okay, so I have all admin kind of views, so I'm glad I'm bringing this up to you. So you do have the capability to actually allow your campuses to reconcile their own audits if you so choose. It's somewhat of a newer feature. I'll tell you, not a lot of districts are doing that. They kind of want to have that, be able to kind of look at what needs to be reconciled and kind of finalize that piece themselves. And so it's really a conversation, between, individuals at your district on what you feel is the best kind of scenario. I will tell you reason why I'm bringing this up, I'm not going to go over all of that right this moment, but if it's something you think you will want where you will not have to do the piece of reconciling, so after campuses have gone in and they scanned in their assets and maybe they have some that are still missing, or they have some that have been misplaced because they were scanned in a room that they weren't expected, there's definitely a bit of work that typically would happen on the admin side to go and clean that up kind of. Some districts are now allowing for the sites to go in and say, I can clean up my stuff. I know, those items that are still missing, and I can, make note of what those items are, and I can definitely say, yes, collect the assets that were scanned in the unexpected room into that room because that's where they're living now, right? So just know that that option is there. As we're walking through this audit piece, I'll kind of mention to you where you would see some different text within those areas. And then if you're interested in it, just give us a call or email us and be like, hey, tell me about the site reconciliation option, and then we'll connect with you individually. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so as you see here, when we are on the site view, it's district-initiated audits for Wright. I do have some filter capabilities, so if I happen to have more than just one, I could do some filtering. Similar, you'll notice across the application, we're kind of moving to this filtering option as you see when you're on the tags grid. Below that, I do have the opportunity, this is fairly new as well, to edit my columns, similar again to the tags grid, so that I can add and remove columns based off my needs to put within the blue grid header here. And then we have what is called the compliance report. And the compliance report is really going to be beneficial for those districts who maybe want to have some sort of report that will show campuses how many assets they still show in the state of missing, how many have been misplaced, and so forth. And so it's a kind of a great way for when it's all complete and they've kind of fully reconciled their assets, that it's a nice report that says, hey, you are compliant. You have met all of the kind of requirements of the audit. All of your things have either been found or, they have been dealt with and that sort of thing. So it's a great kind of way to close out, and then it's, it's almost like a certification of it's like a stamp of yep, you are done, you're in compliance. So we'll look at that after we've kind of walked through the audit here. And as you notice, you can email that compliance report, so maybe it could go to even individuals that may not be in the application, maybe some executive management or so forth. Okay, so here is my audit. I have the audit name, when it was created. I can specify a due date, which I'm sure you heard if you went to the admin Q&A session. It's going to tell me when it was last modified. It's going to tell me how many tags I have. So you'll see I currently have 258 tags that are new, which means no work has been done to this audit yet. They're all in the status of new. And so as we start to take action kind of within the audit, we'll start to see numbers change here in this quick little kind of notifications area to move into in progress. Scan complete is when the site has kind of said, they've kind of put their own kind of initial like sub-approval of like, I've looked at all of my rooms, I've scanned all of my assets, I am saying that, my piece is done. And so that's where the scan complete comes into play. And then once the assets have all been reconciled, it'll move to close. You have a great progress report, and if you hover over the question mark, it gives you actually some detail. I know a lot of times I'll forget, like, wait, what does each status or step mean? And so whenever you see the question mark, definitely hover over them, and it's going to give you a little more detail. So this is about the progress, and it says scan percent. Then it moves into reconcile percent, so that reconciliation piece. And then once it's all complete, it moves to close. And so you can definitely come in here and review that whenever you'd like. And it has a great little kind of progress bar here, and it will, even if I hover again, gives me additional information. So it's just great information for the campuses to come and look at. And then on the admin side, you can definitely look at the district view, or you can always view switch over to the site to gain this information as well. As you see here, my compliance, I do not have at this time because we have not taken any action yet. Again, if I hover, there's the kind of two options. I'm either compliant or I'm non-compliant. And actually, it's at the admin level that that decision is made of the compliance piece or not. So under actions, the first spot that I want to go as a site user is going to be the district audit details. And so I'll just select that. And the district audit details window's open. They have quite a bit of that same information here at the top that just tells them about their audit. It will even specify items that you as the admin had kind of specified when you created the audit or initiated that audit. So if you specified certain product types or rooms or staff types or grades, it would be here. I selected all for today, so you'll see it says all. So then we have the kind of progress, as you saw on the grid here. I also have it here for the individual. So you'll see if you specified tags ignore after a modified date, that would be displayed here. But I have my progress. I have still 258 new, and none have been moved into progress or scan completed yet. And we'll see that change, of course, as we're working through. When the first thing that individuals are going to want to do is come in, and they're going to want to find their location. So if it's only rooms, are you guys thinking that you're going to do audits for just rooms? Are you going to do staff, possibly students? Tina, have you done audits yet?
Yeah, but at my campuses, what I've been having them do is individual room audits. So
yep. Okay.
I've not been able to access like a district report without having to like go to each school and get and doing that. Well,
okay.
Because I haven't like set up like a school audit.
Okay. Well, we definitely can talk. Maybe towards the end, we can walk through scenarios because room audits are great, and actually I was hoping to hop onto those today too, quickly, to kind of just briefly go over them. They are definitely fantastic and very helpful. But we can talk about getting you kind of set up to do the district-initiated audits, because then it's a little quicker, right? You're creating all of the room audits at one time, and you can specify certain sites and so forth. So yeah. How does that sound? At the end, maybe?
I've seen that, and I've looked in there. I just haven't decided to do that yet. Yeah.
I see. Okay. Well, if anything, when you're ready to, you can give us a call, right?
Right. And
then there's tons of reports, and so I'll try to touch on those as well. But there are reports. Now, when you're doing room audits, that's a different kind of piece. But there are some really great reports to kind of get you information. So let's just continue on, and I'll try to touch on those as well. Sound all right?
Okay.
Okay, great. And then really quickly, I know Sarah, Anthony, and who was the other individual?
Lawrence.
Lauren, thank you. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
So I know you haven't started audits yet, but will you be doing audits just for rooms, staff, students? Which
Rooms and staff.
Okay, great. Okay. A reason why I'm asking that is the one thing that when a site is coming in, they'll be made aware, I'm sure through communications, it's for rooms and staff, and so they can start to filter. So like maybe let's say the first step they're going to do is they're going to go and walk each room. So they could definitely come in here and they could look for the room. There's various ways that you can do that. I know some districts will put a barcode on the maybe door jamb, so they can just scan it, and it because you can scan in that field where I just entered in here, and then it pops open that room audit for them. I just hand entered it, and so they'll want to come in and they'll want to click on the edit pencil to start editing. So this room specifically for me actually does not have any assets that are currently assigned to it. That may happen, and there's several ways that you can handle those. You can just say, if there's nothing in there, you just go ahead and you complete scan on that room, and then that room is done. And the way you know that they've kind of completed it is the pencil's gone gray. It's now in that status of scan complete, so this room is considered done, and I still have zeros across the board here. They can still go in and look at audit details if they need to kind of circle back to it for any reason. And then they can actually pull a report. This is for any of the rooms, the room audit summary report. And they can even reopen their location. So if they find out maybe later on, this is one of the first rooms they did, and then later on, a teacher says, oops, actually this laptop was not supposed to be in my room. I kind of borrowed it. It's supposed to be in that room 101, and so I put it back. And so then you could, the individuals at the site could come, they could open it, reopen it, and keep scanning. And so there's definitely lots of pieces to this. Like I know that we don't have a significant amount of time this morning to walk through every piece. But as they are walking through, one thing I want to show is the application does a fantastic job of noting if an item has been misplaced, if it is verified and in the correct room, and it does a really great job for the campuses to make sure that they are, kind of following through it so that the reconciliation piece goes a little quicker. So I'm going to actually type in one to verify in here. I'll show you what that looks like. 30, oops, oh my goodness sake, what is that? T30832. So it's going to tell me, fantastic, tag was verified. I can even enter in a condition of the asset. If I look at them, it's like, ooh, this one looks, kind of fair, and so you can kind of start tracking the condition of an asset. Now, if I go into a room that, and I scan in a tag that was not expected, I will get a different message here. Tag added is misplaced. So that's where that reconciliation piece comes in I was talking about earlier, where this will have to be kind of resolved at the reconciliation piece. And it'll be where you're going to make the decision of, yes, you're going to collect the asset to the room it was just currently scanned, or no, actually you're going to ignore it and you're going to keep it in the room it was expected in, which could go into that scenario that we were just talking about a moment ago, where the teacher's like, oops, it was scanned, or in that scenario, I guess it wasn't scanned yet. But just note that the application is going to work to try to help the individual as they are conducting their audit so that they can move through it quickly, get items in the rooms that they should be in, and then hopefully make reconciliation, a piece of cake, right, for either you, most likely I'd assume you, and even themselves if that's the case. So remember I mentioned the option of campuses possibly being able to reconcile themselves. If you were to have enabled that, it would actually, when I go to approve my audit, which I'm going to do now, which I'm skipping far, far ahead, at this point it would actually say approve and then move to reconcile. I do not have it set up for this morning because it's not common, not everybody's doing it. So I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm approving my audit as a site individual. So I'm going to go ahead and say approve. It's going to tell me that you're approving these items. You're saying that everything's good and you're scan complete. So I'll say confirm. It's going to do its job real quick for me. And now you notice all of my pencils are gray. And at this point, the only thing I can do is go look at the room still, and I can pull a report for each of the rooms. And I can even pull a report, so a district audit listing report for my entire audit. I'm going to go and pop that open for us so we can take a peek. Let me pull it from my other screen. So here's one report as we're kind of talking about reports, Tina. Let me see here. I think I have. Oh, someone would like to come in. Let me go ahead and allow them. All right, welcome. We're talking about reports on the site view, and we're looking at the site audit listing report. So this report's fantastic. So we can get some really great information for the individual to kind of see where all of their assets are. So you'll see that it has the location, the status, and then when it was modified. So a lot of it's going to be similar to what we saw on the view side audits, but it's going to give them their inventory counts here, which I think is fantastic. It's going to say who approved it, so that was myself and when. And so you can get some really great information for them to maybe, if they are having some that are missing still, maybe they want to go out and see where they are. They can pull this information. So I wanted to show you that really quickly. All right. So then what that is the piece for the site side to kind of complete their portion of a district-initiated audit. You'll notice I actually have a new option of a compliance report here, and you'll notice that actually my email compliance report has been enabled now. I'm going to go ahead and click on it here first to take a look. I really appreciate this report. I think it really helps the site to see kind of all those pieces of their audit. So as you see here, it specifies, here's my audit name, my total amount of inventory. I only had one that was verified, right, and had one that was misplaced. So I still have 397 assets or tags that I have not kind of found, right? And this is where at the district, it's great to kind of send this information to the campuses to let them see kind of that magnitude of what's happened. If I just go in and I only do one room, there's 397 assets that are not accounted for, right? But it's going to tell me who created it, when it was approved, and completed. Now this piece here, actually the district, this is customizable, and they can set up a little blurb of their own, so maybe it's your policy specifically, but you can put that information in here. Now, I do have the capability, I'm an admin, so I have the capability, actually, even though I'm on a site side, to record compliance here. So I'm just going to show you this piece so that since I do have admins on the session right now as well, but where you can actually specify compliance status. So currently had it to not set. I can specify not compliant or compliant. So if they have not found that many assets, I'd say maybe not compliant yet. You can attach a police report, and this can actually be a requirement as well. Do any of you require police reports for those assets that are maybe lost for a certain period of time or are even specified as stolen? Do any of you?
My district has.
Oops. Let's see. Who went first?
Go ahead,
Was
Tina.
that? Go ahead. Tina, was it you?
Conroe has not been doing any police reports. I mean, unless it's really a high dollar item, I mean, we just move it to the gone room, and if it shows back up,
Okay.
it shows back up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. And that was Sarah?
Yeah, same here.
Great. Okay. And that's, a lot of districts are doing that, maybe creating a virtual room where they are moving those assets. Maybe they keep them there for like a year or two until at some point it's like, all right, they're not coming back, right? And so then at that point they may look at archiving. That's very common. But you do have the capability to do police report. Now, I've had some districts who say we don't do a police report, but we actually have like an internal kind of document that has to be filled out. You can still put that here. It's just an attachment is all it is, and so you could definitely utilize this for what makes sense for your district. And so if there's some sort of internal document that has to be filled out, that could be what goes in the place of a police report. So I'm going to just say not set, and then any notes. So maybe the district would say, hey, please go check your site again, let's say. So they could put that in there and they save it. Because I really quickly want to show you what it looks like for the sites, for those that will be looking at this recording later as well. The first thing I noticed is right away I see there is this non-compliant. And so that's just a visual indicator for the sites to see, excuse me, that there is something that they need to address. And here's where that notes piece is that was in that last window. And notes could be placed so they could review maybe the reasons why. And then there is a way to do emails from here. And so the site can actually email as well. So maybe they want to email to, principal, or it always depends on the district, right, and who's kind of conducting the audits, and then, who they may want to send items to. But they can send to the audit creator, the approver of the audit, and then even the primary site contact of the campus. And then, as I mentioned earlier, you can even send to emails, like here's a Gmail account, outside of the application. So to individuals that don't actually go in the application, ever really, right? So again, maybe some sort of executive management, some sort of board, that sort of thing. And you just separate it by commas. And this is a one-time deal, so it will go out immediately. Some of our kind of email settings are nightly. This one goes out immediately if you send it. Any thoughts or questions on that? Okay. Well, I'm going to continue because it's already getting close to the hour, and I definitely want to respect your time. Another location for reports, when we're talking about reports, is you do have the full compliance report, which is what we just saw. At the admin level, actually, just a note, it'll show all of the campuses on a separate page each. But I do have my audit listing report here, which is similar to what we saw as the audit detail report. It just has a little less information. All right, so really quickly, I want to go into rooms. Now, if you are a district who maybe wants to do audits, but maybe you're just currently doing room audits, you can go into rooms, and the campuses can do themselves as long as that has not been disabled for them. And they'll just locate the room that they want to audit. And so, like, let's say here I want to do my assistant principal's room. I'll go ahead and expand. It's going to go to my inventory tab, but I'm going to go all the way over to the right to my audits tab. And you'll see that I already have had an audit here. But as we mentioned earlier, do you remember how we know it's kind of completed?
Yes.
Is that grade edit pencil? I'm a visual person, can you tell? And that's what I love about the application, is it definitely caters to staff and being a visual person. So yeah, my first thing I notice is my pencil's grayed out, and of course the status says closed. So that means that I can actually do a new audit for this room. So maybe if I'm doing it annually, this is a running track record of all of the audits, which I appreciate. So I'll just say add record. Right away, this room again does not have any assets in it, but my room audit window looks very, identical to what we just saw right from the district-initiated audit. And so here I can add in a tag. Let me try one of my other ones. It may not let me actually. Let me see, 308, and then I'm going to do 34. Actually, let's see if it'll let me because I have not finished the other audit. Okay, so actually this is great because it says tag and product added. So this product was not on my audit, And so it's just telling me, hey, this has been added to your audit. And if I expand, I'll get more information about that specific asset. And even it'll specify the state is misplaced, tag number, and so some good information about it here. Again, I can always undo if necessary. Tina, do you have any thoughts or input, or have you noticed anything with your room audit?
No, I don't have any input.
Okay, great. And so if everything looks good, well, actually prior to that, you'll notice there's an initialized room inventory. And so as campuses are going through and they happen to find an asset that maybe wasn't there when you initially started the audits, or something just somehow did not make it into the application, they're actually able to, on the fly right there while in the audit, initialize, so bring that asset into the application. And so they can search for the product. They can, so I could just do this really quickly. I always like to add the cellos. They'll need to enter in the required fields, of course, so funding source, the status, I'm going to say it's available, and then this is where you would scan in your tag. I'm just going to put in fake tag for Steph, enter, and then my serial number is not required, but for just today I'm going to put it in, and then you'll see that my asset has been added into the application, and then I'll say done. And now you'll see that my cello is within my room now, and it's been brought into my application. So then they'll be able to just come in. They can leave and come back as needed if for this audit. When they're done, they'll do complete scan, and then you'll see that now I have completed my audit. Is still in complete scan. So let me go into my actions. And this is where they'll need to kind of specify the actions, so kind of reconciling on the site view. So you'll see they can say ignore, and again that means that this asset will not be brought into this room, or I can say collect, and so it'll bring that asset into my room that it was scanned in. I can put any status note. I'll go ahead and save it. And there you go, it shows it's been collected. And then if I had any, I could set all remaining tags to close, to close it. There we go. And so it is now complete. Let's go and close, we'll see it. And it's closed now. And then there's a great report here as well. It's the same one, Room Audit Summary Report. And then under, there's two other, let's see, you can pull the Audit Detail Report from the Rooms page here, Room Audit Detail Report. And then I actually want to show you under Tags really quickly, and we'll see if there's any additional questions. There is, I may be mistaken, actually, I'm sorry. I thought there's a report here for, but it's under the admin view. Under tags, there's another room report here, just a note then. So that was kind of the site, audit in a quick kind of nutshell. Do I have any questions about the site audits, either from the district-initiated audits or room audits, or any on reports?
All good.
Okay, great. Well, if you have any additional questions for me, or support, just go ahead and email us or call us, or even after the session, you can just reach out to me and say, hey, Steph, actually, I do have a question about that. But really, this time of year, I know that everyone's just trying to close things out. Audits are a great way to kind of see where your items are, and then, of course, assess what you may need to order for the coming school year, right? All right. Well, if I don't have any other questions, I will go ahead and stop sharing my screen. I really appreciate you all coming on to the session this morning, I guess this afternoon more so, and spending it with me and kind of learning more about audits. If you would like any additional information sent, you can let me know now, and I can send, kind of some audit information to each of you. Would you like that?
I think we're okay.
Okay, great. Well, you know how to pull information, right? The Support Center is one of my favorite places, and then the help.
Mm-hmm.
Great. All right. Well, everybody have a great rest of your day, and I appreciate you spending the morning with me.
Thank you. Take care, Stephanie.
Take care. Bye-bye.